number one then, and number one now.
You're listening to HEFFRON and Reep.
HEFFRON and Reep.
Rated #1 podcast by the World Podcasting Federation and the Podcast Ranking Association. No, for real, it says it right here.
Yeah. Everybody. You're listening to the HEFFRON REEP podcast. Podcast has been around since 2006. Won multiple awards. Were rated the best podcast and #1 podcast in the Podcast Federation and also the Podcast Ranking Association. Mm-hmm. Also, big news. Me and John Reep signed an inter-podcaster mano-a-mano agreement today that me and John Reep will never perform solo at an arena. We decided, we sat back and we thought, you know what? Arena comedy shows suck. Mm-hmm. They're really expensive and you're not going to get the true feeling of going to see a comic. There's no reason why I should see comedy when there's 50,000 other people. It's not how it's supposed to be. So me and John just signed a thing saying we will not ever do arenas. We get asked all the time, will you do an arena? And I'm like, I can't, but you know what? I'll go to Bricktown, Oklahoma City this weekend. Mm-hmm. I'll perform there. I'll perform at the Comedy Castle in November or Denver Comedy Works. I'll do that.
Yeah, but like I'm going to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm not playing the Gator Bowl.
No.
I'm playing the Comedy Zone in Jacksonville, Florida, November 3, 4, and 5.
Because we believe that when you see comedy, you shouldn't hear echo. You shouldn't see a little dot of a comic and then the echo of what they said.
Right.
Plus, we don't want to, there's bands, there's sports teams that need those arenas, and we're just nice. We don't want to just take an arena away from Aerosmith. So that's
you can't really. It's too big. You don't get the nuances. You don't get the subtext. You don't get the intimacy that is very crucial in comedy. Timing, all of it.
Yeah. So that's why when you see a few comics always performing at really big venues, you're like, well, those are the comics to see. Well, I say no. The smaller venue comedians is who you need to see.
Yeah, if you want to have more fun.
Those other ones fly on their private jet, and then they get off the jet, and then they complain about life. And it's weird because you're like, well, you're just on a private jet, and now you're complaining for an hour about random shit. You should not be complaining about anything. Yeah. So that's why you see smaller venue comedians, because they have real shit to bitch about. Everything else is manufactured, and everyone's trying to their role, their character, so they got to stay that way. So now they're locked into always complaining because now there's a billion people. Whereas smaller comics, we can change. One show we might be in a great mood and just give out nothing but promo
codes,
accolades.
Accolades,
stuff like that.
Hey, John, real quick, I actually do have a promo code.
Okay,
I'm just going to throw it out real quick.
Okay,
there's this service called Every Plate. Have you heard of it?
Have not.
Every Plate, it's a meal delivery system. You sign up for it. They send you all the ingredients that you need to make for one meal or two meals, however many you sign up for a week. And I have a promo code REEP149, REEP 149. That'll save you up to $110 on your first month. And I absolutely love it. And me and Jody cook together now. It's kind of fun. Yeah. You don't need to go looking for a certain ingredient like, oh, tonight we're going to have this. The instructions are right there. Real simple. And that was a free plug on the HEFFRON and Reep show. And I want you to use the promo code. I think you'll love it.
So it's one plate, promo code REEP149.
Yeah. Everyplate.com. Everyplate.com.
Everyplate.com. Also, this show is sponsored by Sager Publishing. If you're into kids' books, if you got a kid and you want to read books to your kids, right? Unless you're a parent that's like a deadbeat and you have no interaction with your kids, unless you're just some parent that sits there as a sludge playing Candy Crush as your kids are crying, hoping to get some type of eye connection from their mom or dad. Unless you're one of those people, unless you're selfish and you don't read to your kids. But if you do read to your kids, or if you're a grandparent, this is just one of the 5 books we have on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and just type in the word "My Grandma Makes," you'll see My Grandma Makes grilled cheese sandwiches. My Grandma Makes blueberry pancakes. We got gingerbread house for the holidays. There's some good ones. Good reviews. People are loving it. This one, Mr. Kris Kringle is in it. He makes an appearance. A delivery guy makes an appearance with a puppy. That's a thing. And our 1980s mom, if you noticed.
Yeah.
Our 1980s mom.
She's kind of hot.
Yeah, but look at her. She looks like she'd be on a sitcom in like the 80s.
Yeah.
Right. And then look at a beautiful house they live in. Look at their neighbor's house. Nice. Very thing. So that is My Grandma Makes on Amazon. You should go there. Also, gotta talk to John Reep about this cruise. It's the Sea Amigos cruise taking place next November. Here, I have a question though, John.
Yeah.
What's the longest you've been on one cruise? It's 7 days.
Yeah, I think 10 days maybe.
10 and it was fine?
I think the country music cruise I used to do was a pretty long one. Yeah, here's the deal. Well,
tell me about this, Evan, because
I'll tell you what. This ship that we're going to be on is a brand new ship. It's called Wonder of the Seas. It is the biggest cruise ship that you can be on. And they have tons of activities. You really won't get bored if you're with someone you want to be with. There's tons of things to do, tons of places to go. Not only are we going to have fun hanging out doing comedy, karaoke, podcasting, whatever, there's tons of things to do that the ship already has built in. Okay. And so you probably... Are you worried about just being bored on the ship, with nothing to do?
No, I'm just worried about Michelle's going, but now I'm worried about work situation. And I told her at just one of the ports she might be able to go, or towards the end or something. You know what I mean? Maybe
she needs to get out,
or maybe you just don't see me that Friday. I show up and then I might have to leave on Friday. Right. But I want to be helicoptered out. I want to get kicked off the ship. So I get some play on my social media.
Well, we know what you can do.
So I'll probably will do something fun like that. That is go to
johnreep.com on that one and then click cruise. Okay. Yeah.
Or take a picture of that.
You forgot to take those coasters to Spokane, Washington, and I was a little upset because I saw the sold out crowd. I kept thinking, look at all those people that have no idea that they could be on a cruise ship with this guy who's murdering right now.
I felt the same way when I would say, go, I got others, and people just stare at you. Mm-hmm. I felt the same way. It was great, Spokane. I haven't been there in a while. Crowds are good. Crowds are good because they sell popcorn and popcorn chicken. That's it. Big believer in the more food a comedy club has, just the worse the audience is going to be. It's my new thing.
And no fault of their own. It's just because there's the more things to drop on the floor and distract from the show.
When I was on stage, or the Forrest, this feature act who I just told you about, and I always want to say Forrest Griffin, but that's not his name. This guy Forrest that I worked with this weekend, super funny. While he was on stage, there was a girl in the front row with her boyfriend. And, there were like 4 or 5 seats empty. She laid front row. She put her head down on one of the seats and laid completely down, just right on the front row. And her boyfriend just sat, and she laid down And she heckled Forrest, and Forrest goes, I've never been heckled by anybody who's ever been in full prone position before. And then
Was she drunk?
Yeah, they were real drunk. They were young too.
Gosh.
And then the kid wanted to fight everybody. Her boyfriend wanted to fight everybody, but it was like you could tell he was one of those guys that he would talk about how he was going to fight you for like maybe 20 minutes.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And then he'd probably pull out his phone to try to TikTok it before he fought you, and then that's when you'd smash him in his face.
So he's like, I'm going to come over there. I'm going to put you in a headlock. I'm going to give you a noogie. Then I'm going to give you a wedgie. And then like he would announce all that stuff.
Yeah. So
That's kind of like, wasn't there a movie back in the day? Not Kung Fu. It was Billy Jack. Well, he would announce, like, in about 2 seconds, I'm going to take my right foot.
Yeah, and slap
I'm going to put it right on your
left side of the face.
Left side of
that
your
was
face.
the only fight scene in that entire movie, and it was a karate movie.
Billy Jack?
Yeah, there's like one kick, and that was it. I had my friend when I was in college, my friend Lynn Moyer. He got in a fight with somebody who was having a house party next to ours or something, and this in their mouth at each other, on the porch, across from each other, they're mouthing off, let's go, I'll meet you out there. So everybody in all the houses came. Right. And then, so this is just picture every 80s kind of, this is exactly what was happening. The kid had I'll never forget, Izod sweater on, right? With a green V, like a green V on the sweater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then
it's kind of like a bulky sweater, isn't it?
Yeah, bulky, and it has like ridges.
Yeah,
it's like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then he has a Izod or something underneath it with the collar up.
Yeah.
Right? And he had those brown shoes that had those laces that went all the way around the brown shoes. And then jeans that were tapered, that were like folded, right? So
I know this guy. I went to high school with this dude.
Yeah, so that guy's mom set up by Lynn, and Lynn's a huge guy and played sports in high school. It was just so he went to square up. Lynn's like, he's saying, there's a shove there, and then the guy steps back, and then he goes like this with his sweater and goes like that to take his sweater off. And right about the time the sweater was here, Lynn went whomp, punched square right in the face, knocked the guy just went pink and just put out. And then everybody was like, it's a cheap shot and stuff. They're like, you're in a fight, dude. You don't let the person take off their Izod sweater.
There's no such thing as a cheap shot.
Yeah,
in fighting,
you don't let the guy get undressed.
Yeah, he had already made the posture. They had already pushed each other a little bit. It was going down.
Yeah, you square off. You're squared off. The fight starts the second that you square off.
What a dummy. So did he punch? So he had his sweater like this, which means there was fabric right here.
Right
so
there.
He actually just hit the sweater.
Smashed him. And Lynn was a huge guy too, like high school quarterback, all-star, pitcher. Like it was the wrong guy to like mess with anyway. But this kid was feeling feisty.
Couple things I want to talk about today, John, if you don't mind. We've got a couple things going on. What is up with Bill Murray and all his inappropriate behavior on set? Have you been hearing these stories come out?
I saw. I don't know what the newest one is, so I'll let you tell me.
Well, the newest one that I've heard, and now everybody's piling on. Like, what's the kid's name? Oh God, they used to say "cha-ching." He was in that commercial. Seth, not Rogen, the redheaded kid. Seth, yeah,
not Seth, who plays he's also the voice of like Family Guy.
Yeah,
Seth
something.
Not MacFarlane,
right?
No,
not MacFarlane.
But I know who you're talking. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So just recently, he was on an episode of My Mystic Morning or something, and he was telling a story. They said, "What's the rudest person that you've had to work with?" And he said, "Bill Murray. When I was a kid, I was on a show with Bill Murray, and he was like 9 years old, and he was sitting like in a shared space, like a green room type area, on a couch, and he was sitting on the armrest of the couch." And Bill Murray walked over and said, "Hey, that's my chair. You can't sit there. That's my spot." And then he's like, what are you talking about? This is shared space. I'm on the armrest even. I'm not even, there's plenty of space here. And he said, Bill Murray bent over, grabbed him by the ankles, picked him upside down, and took him to the trash can and said, "The trash belongs in the trash can," and throws him in the trash can and went and sat back down. And it was like, he didn't take it to be funny. He was crying and he had to go, he went back to his green room and shut the door and came back out and finished the show. But that's the latest one. But there's been tons going on, man. I didn't know this about him. He always had this this air about him as like the coolest dude, right?
But if you're an older dude and you're working with like a 9-year-old, I don't know. Are we judging by today's standards? That 9-year-old is like that age where like you can kind of rough, like grabbing somebody by the ankles and, "Oh, you're getting a swirly," and kind of I don't know. I guess it made him cry.
Well, it goes back even to when he was on SNL. He said Dan Aykroyd called him the Murricane because of his mood swings. You never knew what kind of mood he would be in that day. And Chevy Chase recalled returning to the show as host in '78 and Murray like just insulting him right before the and then they got physical, so they got in a fight. In '93, he went back on SNL, and Rob Schneider said he hated Rob Schneider and Chris Farley and Adam Sandler.
Bill Murray said that?
Yeah, like he didn't like any of them. In the movie Quick Change, Gina Davis recalls a uncomfortable meeting where Murray, they were getting ready to shoot the movie Quick Change, and Murray insisted on using a massaging device on her back, even though she refused a bunch of times. She said, "I said no multiple times, but he wouldn't relent. I would have had to have yelled at him and cause a scene if I was going to try to give up cause a scene if I was to get him to give up trying to force me to do it. The other men in the room didn't do anything to make it stop. I realized that with profound sadness that I didn't yet have the ability to withstand his onslaught, so I simply walked out." But
That's creepy.
So he wanted to use a massaging device on her. I don't know if that was part of the scene or not. But another time he was on the Arsenio Hall show with her promoting the film, and he repeatedly tried to take off her spaghetti strap, like behind her, just was moving it down.
Man.
Yeah. And then in Stripes, something was going on in Stripes, and Scrooged. What about Bob? Remember that one with Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss said they got confrontational, and Murray threw an ashtray at his head and said, "No one likes you." So all these stories are coming out now, and it's really sad and upsetting because I love Bill Murray, and I thought he was just one of these extra cool dudes who just didn't care about the showbiz side of things and he's such an icon. He comes and goes as he pleases, and he just does what he wants. And now I'm hearing all this negative stuff.
That's a lot, actually. The massage one's creepy. Anybody chucking anything at anybody is creepy. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't have been a good fight, though. Dreyfuss versus him. Like, if somebody threw something at me, you're fighting. Mm-hmm. Like, you're fighting. Like, are there... What happens if you're a big actor on a set, and it's probably happened a lot, where you literally throw down with the other guy? Like, who gets fired?
Oh,
if he threw an ashtray at me and it almost hit me, let's say I was Richard Dreyfuss, but let's say I was Richard Dreyfuss prone to fight, and you went over there and just started beating the shit out of him. Who would get, right? There's probably who would get fight. You know what I mean? Somebody would get let go. There's HR on movies. I remember when I was on Last Comic Standing, there were two problems. There were two major off-air problems in Last Comic Standing was a show I was on in 2004.
You won that thing, didn't you?
There was won that thing. There was a sexual assault issue on our show. So they had a tent with lawyers, and we all had to stop shooting, and then we had to go in this tent, and everyone had to kind of say what their accounts were. it was between executives, and then Corey Holcomb,
Yep.
who was on our show, almost was going to beat up Ant, who's a comedian who was also on our show. And that got really close.
Wow.
We were in a little bus, and all the sound guys were in the bus behind us. And Corey Holcomb sits down and asks Ant to repeat what Ant said. Ant did, and I was like 2 seats back, and I'm just like, why would you repeat it? Like, you just know when to, like, give up.
You just say, I'm not doing that, man. Just take it easy now.
Just,
but instead,
roll
he repeated
over
the insult.
and show him your stomach, because Corey Holcomb is the alpha in this scenario. So then Pescatelli was in between them, and she moved out of the way. So she wasn't even going to try to go, hey, everybody keep calm. Now you're just trying to make room. So Corey wasn't. And I think Alonzo Bowden came walking from the back, and he tried to but then Alonzo was having a moment of, Ant kind of made his own bet on this one.
Yeah.
And Alonzo did the guys, come on, guys. Like, it was just being Alonzo, just trying to be a little bit of a peacemaker, but nah. Yeah. And then everybody got off, came on the bus and separated them. And then by the time we got back to our little reality home house that they put us up in, our season, we were in like this castle or something. Yeah. Another tent got put up, and then we had to sit there and talk with executives, and everyone had to be made sure, are you okay with the situation? How do you feel right now?
Everybody feels safe.
And then I remember getting pissed because Ant got to go stay at the Four Seasons or whatever nice hotel it was by us. And we were on that show. We were sequestered or whatever the word is. We had to be on that show for months, maybe. So you were on air, but then if you lost, if you got voted out, you had to go stay at a hotel. They still wouldn't let you go home. Right. You still couldn't use your phone. You still couldn't. There really wasn't the internet at the time. This was 2004, believe it or not. So there really wasn't a lot for you to go post. But Ant got to stay at a hotel and all that stuff because he was upset.
So Ant sort of started it, and then
Todd Glass started it. I wish I could find the footage of the whole scenario.
All right. Well,
I'll tell you what happened. So we were in a bus. We're driving through Hollywood, and we had to do stuff where you had like competitions. I think we had to go to Hollywood Boulevard and do a bringer show. Try to get as many people into our show as we could, and whatever comic had the most audience members won that challenge.
Okay.
And if you won the challenge, remember how reality shows went? Then you were immune to get voted out of the show.
Right.
So we're driving, and Todd Glass yells, because they have all those fake superheroes that are alongside of the wall or alongside of Sunset Boulevard.
Right. So
Todd Glass yells out of the bus to Spider-Man. He goes, "Hey, Spider-Man, nice dick." Okay. So, and then Todd said something about he used the F word. He goes, "Come, what are you being," like almost to himself, like he was heckling himself. He goes, "Come on, don't make fun of Spider-Man. You're being," and he said the F word, which I won't say. Okay.
An effing a-hole? Come on, man. Don't use the D word. You're being an effing a-hole.
No, he said, "Why are you being such a," and then the F word.
Just an F. Okay.
Right.
Not F-U-C-K. The other one. Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That F word. There are two F words now.
So then Ant says to Todd, "Why, whatever said, don't use the F word. Why do you feel necessarily to use the F word?" And then they went off on a thing. And then Ant goes, "What, you don't see me out here?" And then he put down the window and yelled the N word.
Oh, right.
So you see how this is not just.
Todd Glass took a fire poker and just sort of did this.
So then Corey Holcomb was just minding his own business, and then he turned and said, what did you just say? Right? And then Ant said, I said the N-word. If he can say the F word, I can say the N-word. And he started going N-word, 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 N-word. Like that. Like sing-songy.
There is, I
Like
mean, what are the odds
sing-songy.
that NBC would release these I mean, you know, maybe that's one way. I mean, one reason why they're not airing Last Comic Standing on NBC streaming services. I feel like they should be. It was a good show, but now we know why. Because of Ant.
So then Corey sat down, and do you know who Corey Holcomb is?
Yeah.
Ever met him? Ever been physically around him?
Yeah, he's
like
large
5
guy.
people, but his shoulders, he's like 5 people.
Yeah.
He's from Chicago. Last guy I would sing song any word to.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I make eye contact with Corey for like 4 seconds just because I'm dominance. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't stare too long because then it's a thing. So then Corey takes off. I know you know what it is, John, but on the show we had all these hidden like mics on us. These things called lavaliers. So they're literally taped to you, and there's just one on you at some point of your clothing, but it's usually attached to you. So if you go to the bathroom or something, you can't just unclip it. Corey takes his off and tries to kind of toss it, but it's all taped. And then he was like, "You think I care? You think I care about these mother effing cameras? I will beat you. I will beat your ass right now." And there was a couple camera guys, just you know, boom guys got the mic still in there, but we're in one of those short buses. We're not even in a big because they thought it'd be funny. FYI, looking back, very not acceptable. We were in a short bus because we were comics. So you could find a flaw with that.
Yeah.
Nowadays times.
Why is that funny?
Yeah. So Corey was like, I don't give a shit about this show. I don't give a shit about the NBC. Like, say it one more time, and we're going. And he said it again. He said it again, and you just want you know when you're just removed from it. You're
now
just like,
everyone just backs up. Go ahead, buddy.
You're just like, gosh dang it. Don't like you're just like just don't hide behind your sexuality right now. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Corey's not is you know like this. You need to stop. And then the bus pulled off, and everybody came, and then everybody you know everybody was friends. It's kind of on the I wish there was a way people could stream that show. Yeah, it's a little dated, but they left part of it on. But what they ended up editing was not like what happened at all.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's hilarious. And Todd Glass, what was he doing during all this? Was he just, I mean, you said what Alonzo did and Tammy did during this, knowing that Todd Glass started it. Was he trying to break it up, or was he throwing gas on the fire?
He was in it for like a second. Yeah. And then he was like, "And I didn't know, you know, I didn't mean that word as being offensive." And then they had a discussion. And you know,
well, and
Todd was gay on the show. Todd wasn't gay on the show. He wasn't out yet.
That's what I was about to ask you. Okay? Is he? So he's out now.
He's out now. Yeah.
Good.
But on the show, he wasn't out.
So Ant didn't know.
Ant didn't
because I think Todd Glass is allowed to say that word. Now I think Todd out.
But
so Todd just assumed
he was gay then, so he just kind of said probably what he says all the time and just whatever. But nobody kind of knew. You know what I mean? So then Ann was like, "You gotta be gay to say that word, and you're not." And then that's weird.
And then Todd's like, I guess I'll be quiet for now. Yeah,
for 5 years. Yeah, I don't
know. That's interesting.
That's my recollection of how it happened. It's been 20 years. I could be a little foggy and could have some information missed on that.
Now, check this out, John.
But everybody got to stay, though. Even though there was a physical fight, everybody got to stay. That's why back to movies, if you get in a fight with somebody, do they just let you go? or do you get fired from the set?
If someone were to get fired, I think it would be the weaker star, like whoever has less star power. So in this instance, Bill Murray versus Richard Dreyfuss, both of those are big stars.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, Bill Murray was a bigger star than Dreyfuss, who was kind of like on the way out, maybe. They may have replaced Dreyfuss on that one. I don't know. But they got along. Remember Lucy Liu? Remember Charlie's Angels? He was on that too. She had a problem with him too. Apparently he was just insulting her all the time. He came in one time. He came in there one time and all the other stars were there. Like Cameron Diaz and who was the other girl, Charlie's Angels? Drew Barrymore. And all three sit there. He goes, "Oh, I see why these two big stars are here, but why are you here?" Like he insulted her career and was just picking on her relentlessly. And so she had. I mean, I remember that being a thing in the news when that happened. So I would like to meet Bill Murray one day, but now I'm afraid.
Is some of that like ripping? Like one, Lucy Liu is how I got into comedy, right?
Oh. I vaguely remember you telling me
She's the one. She worked at the comedy club here in Ann Arbor, and she signed me up for my first open mic. She came to our table and said, "We have open mics on Tuesday. Do you want to do open mic?" And I said, "Yes," because we all wanted. Yeah, we all wanted to impress her, and she was Lucy Liu. So she signed me up and came and said, "Hey, you're on the schedule for next Tuesday. Just be here by 6:30." So Lucy Liu, is the very first person to ever say, "Get me on stage at a comedy club," and then
How did you know? How did she know you were funny? What were you doing? I mean, why
she
did
didn't?
She
I think she had a quota or something. Maybe she was forced to ask every table to try to get people on open mic. You know what I mean? I think she just went down the line and just kind of asked everybody. So, but
wow,
but wouldn't that like? No, never talked to her since that day. Yeah, one time. Do you think that's what Bill Murray did, though? Have you ever walked into a comedy club green room and there were two comics you're not working with, or you're working with that you'd never met, and you just kind of make fun of one of them, right? Like,
Like, yeah, it's just called like busting balls kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's a very northeastern way of being. I don't typically like it, but I know what's going on. I know they don't mean anything most of the time. They're just trying to be funny, and that's what they do. Yeah.
But can you not do that without, if you're a guy, can you not do that to three women?
No, correct. In this article about Bill Murray, he doesn't discriminate based on your sex. Like he bullies dudes and females and children.
Yeah,
he treats them all the same.
Yeah, so I don't know. At least that's consistent.
Yeah, right. So I want to know what's behind all that, though. I hope he did admit on some show. He goes, "Well, I kind of grew up in a different era, and the world has changed, and I need to learn how to behave in this new world that I'm now living in." So I think he's taken some ownership of it. But what a crazy thing. Did you? All right, so John, I saw this as well. Circle K just signed a deal, and they're going to start selling marijuana in their stores in Florida in 2023. Like legal marijuana. You don't have to go to a dispensary anymore. You can go to a gas station, Circle K, and get you some reefer. What are your thoughts?
Hot dog sales is going to go up. Do they have tests? Can cops pull you over and test you for pot for driving?
They are working on one now. I just saw this in the news as well. They're working on a breathalyzer that can test both alcohol and marijuana. It's not ready yet, but they're close.
I think this might be all a huge play just to bust people for smoking and driving, especially if that's a couple $1,000 fine, right? If drunk driving is a $10,000 fine, if you get busted drunk driving and you're legal, it's like you got to go to AA, you get your license thing, and then you have to blow into a thing to get your car to start. That whole process is like 10 grand. So you got to figure if you get busted smoking pot or being really high, they're going to find a way to make that 5 grand. then how much more people are they going to catch at $5,000 than they're catching at 10?
Yeah, that's I can see that. I could also see, like, I'm not going to Circle K at a certain time when I know that some stoner is going to be sitting at the gas pump staring at it, forgot he's even in a car. And I just think the wait for anything at a Circle K is going to be longer now. Everyone's just going to be wandering around high, or maybe you just come in and get it and get out. The new cars that they're talking about in the future are all going to be electric cars, is what they're saying. That we don't have to drive, but if you do get behind the wheel, I think now they're going to have a device where it knows if you're drunk, it knows if you've been smoking, and it could probably, like, you put in your destination. Mm-hmm. I mean, could you imagine a world where everybody's car talks to each other? All the cars are synced up, and and all the cars know what the traffic's going to be like that day because it knows where everyone's going.
Yeah.
How efficient would that be? Would you ever have to hit your brakes?
On that, I wonder if there's, like, your car just almost like are you a robot? Just right on your steering wheel where your horn would be, a thing would pop up, and you have to pass. You have to hit a couple things, or your car's like, yeah, no, you're too fucked up to go anywhere.
Right.
We're gonna stay right here.
You have to play a game of Wordle.
Yeah. You gotta do words with friends, like 1 or 2, and if you don't get 2 right, you're just too dumb to drive. You just can't. Yeah, or some kind of that's funny. I don't know. Also, there's some places I won't stop at, even if they're well lit for some reason. Circle K's to me always look very Robbie. like Circle K's always have the vibe that's where all the masked men with guns come in.
I agree. And Sheetz is the opposite of that. Sheetz is the best.
Sheetz, you want to homeschool your kids in that place. You want your kids to come in. You're okay. You'll let your kids run around. You'll go take a nap in the car. Let your kids just hang out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got a lot of space for turning around and stuff. I like a gas station that has a lot of square feet, a lot of room to move around in.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a shower at a truck stop?
I think I did at some point in my 20s because they had to call your name. And I took a shower. Yes, I did. And I wore, like, white socks into the shower because I didn't have shower shoes. And I figured that shower was disgusting. So I wore white socks into the shower. Then when I got out of the shower, I took off the wet socks.
You did some laundry.
I just figured, I just left them. I figured it's just a loss.
It's the boy.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah. No, I never have, but I like going to those gas stations if I'm on a road trip, like the professional ones for all the truckers as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of room. And there's all these neat gadgets in there that truckers want, a lot of CB stuff. And I like to walk around. And then sometimes you'll go past a shower area. And sometimes they have a game room, like an arcade game room.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have like a TV viewing room where people just get there and watch TV or something. But I always feel like there's something shady about to happen. Like that's where some guy's gonna. If I go into the TV waiting room and I sit there and watch TV, it's a matter of time before somebody sits right next to me and goes,
"Yeah,
the pearl is in the river."
Yeah.
Like what?
Or there's some guy just reading a paper, and when you walk away, he puts the paper down and he just follows you out in the parking lot. Yeah, it's just too shady. I felt that way. Ever stay at one of those hotels where you get murdered at, where your car is right in front of your front door?
Yeah.
Like those.
My car got robbed at one of those.
Those scare the shit out of me.
It's like a Motel 6 or something like that. I was staying at this is a long time ago. I happened to be with a girl that I had met that weekend. It was going great. And it was a kind of a icy day, like it was sleeted or something. Mm-hmm. And we're in there, and we heard this noise. She goes, "Oh, my God, what was that?" I said, "It's probably just some ice crystals falling, just some sleet. Don't worry about it. Come back over here. And then you hear it again. I'm like, oh my, that sounds bad. I opened the door. It was 2 or 3 guys in a van that had stopped their car, had like a bat and was bashing out windows. Mm-hmm. And he just finished bashing out her window. And I'm just standing there, and it's 3 dudes. And they see me, and I'm going, hey! And they're like, they look at me like, are we going to whip his ass?
Right.
Or they sized me up. Guy got in the van and drove off. They just left. Not in a hurry. I wasn't threatening to him, but just realized, well, he might be.
Or I mean, if you're in the hotel, they probably realize this guy was about to, and nobody wants to deal with that anger when you get interrupted. Yeah. So maybe they sensed the glow about you.
Yeah, and then they left, and then we walked out to her car. They had stolen her radio and CDs, and then I felt bad for it, but then I started bragging. I said, well, that's because you don't see, my dad taught me. My dad used to be a cop. I never get robbed because I have a sheriff's jacket hanging up in my car, so people see the jacket. They think, oh, that might be a cop's car. And then we walked over to my car. They had already robbed me. They took... After I just made a point. The
guy's driving away in a sheriff's jacket. Yeah.
Right. I was like, well, I'm making a check on mine. I say, oh, shit. They got my radio and my CDs.
I remember staying at one way up north in Michigan where the heater, not the bed, you had to put, is there a fire going on in your place?
No, that was a doorbell.
There's, you had to put quarters in the heater.
Wow.
And the heater only lasted maybe an hour and a half. So you'd go to sleep and then you'd wake up and your room was maybe 20-something degrees. And then you'd have to put more quarters in and then the heater would kick on.
Quarters
but it only
in
stayed
the heater?
Yeah, and it would only stay on for an hour and a half or 2 hours at the most. So all night you're doing that. That was back when, I'm going to age myself, if you wanted to watch a movie, you had to go to the front desk and they'd give you a plastic key. And then you'd put the plastic key into the top of the TV and turn it, and it would break the key. And then the movie you wanted to watch would be playing.
Wow. So you and I are both road dogs. Have you ever stayed, and I'm pretty sure I have stayed in a hotel where the bed vibrates. You know, you put a quarter. You see it in movies. It's a trope in all sort of 80s movies, comedies. I've never stayed... I don't think I've stayed in there. Maybe I have, but I didn't turn the bed on. But have you stayed in these hotels where they have there's a TV that you can watch and it's to other people's rooms? It's like a swinger type hotel.
No. That would be horrible. No.
Yeah, it's like when you check in, you understand that there's a camera in your room, and you will be. No. You're saying it's okay. I want to be watched. And then you can turn on the TV and watch other people's rooms as well.
Never seen
everybody's watching everybody.
So creepy. I wish what I just bought is all downstairs, and we're going to get done soon, so I'm not going to go get it. Speaking of that, I just bought these pens. I don't even have anything similar, but it's a pen that finds a camera for you. So I can take this pen into any room, click it. It'll tell me if there's a Wi-Fi signal. So even if you don't see internet, it'll tell you if it's a Wi-Fi, if it's 3G, or if it's like regular, or if it's the transmitting of like a video, like some of those like clock cams transmit a signal, but it's not on internet. It's like a 2G thing. It'll let you know if that's going on. And then you hit a button and it starts blinking red and you go like this and it'll find a camera.
Wow.
And then it turns green. And then the closer you get to the camera, the noise starts, the chirping gets higher and higher.
Wow.
So you can know if you go into an Airbnb or anything like that, and you have one of these, you could click it on and you could see if there's any hidden cameras in your Airbnb.
Mm-hmm. That's been going on a lot. I've been seeing it on Facebook.
They're real little, man. I'll show them next time. I walked around my house and I went to all my webcams, found like everyone. I have like a little camera to record stuff on stage. I found everything, the lens.
Yeah,
cool.
they're putting cameras in anything now. I mean, I saw one where it was a block for a USB for your phone. Like it looked like something you would plug a cord into to charge your phone. You know what I'm talking about, the little blocks?
Yeah.
And but it had a tiny little camera in it. And so whoever's Airbnb it was, they had left it in the bathroom as if to offer you, oh, here's somewhere you can charge your phone. Yet it's got a little camera in it, and some guy discovered it. And he's like, how long has this been in here?
Yeah.
What all has he recorded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait till I find one in a hotel. Can't wait.
What would you do if you found it? Would you take the
I'd
card
watch
out
whatever's on it.
Right.
Because
who knows a lot. Well, now you might be watching somebody else that you're not supposed to be watching.
Yeah, I'd watch it just to see, but then I think I would go online. How would you do that? I think I would post about it first. Like I was just in this hotel and I just found this with this thing. Then I would maybe tell front desk. Right? Or would you go to front desk first? Or would you call the cops first? I'd make us think. I'd make sure I get extra points, or I get free internet, or I get like an upgraded room. I wouldn't let the hotel.
Oh, yeah, good move.
escape.
So maybe you do this. That's a good call.
Or I want the manager go, I found this in the thing. I have video of me finding it in the thing. So I need some hush money.
That's right. That's a good move. There was at Planet Fitness in Hickory one time. They found a camera in the one of the tanning rooms. Because people go to tan and they take all their clothes off. They get in the tanning bed, and they found one, and it was a big to do. And I think the person got caught and ended up getting in big trouble. But that happened at my gym. Luckily,
I saw this as somebody did it on maybe YouTube or something, and it's more for the ladies who watch this podcast. I guess you try it, or at least be aware. No one's doing it for me. What they did is they took their cell phones and they put it on record, and then they flip the camera. Then they put their cell phone in their back pocket. So then when they're walking, you can then later see how many guys walk behind them and take pictures of either their butts or stalker guys that, like, this one girl was followed almost 5 blocks from this guy that was just like turned and just was following her. He wasn't taking pictures, and then they didn't know until they took the phone out and then watch it. So you turn your phone, put it in your pocket, and just walk, and then see how much trouble you might have been in.
Or even just guys who turn their head and check you out.
Yeah, but a lot of pictures like this girl had, and then they had all these girls doing it, and it was just, guys like taking pictures, walking as close to them as they can. Wow. Yeah, it was really creepy.
Great. Now I can't even look at butts anymore.
No, dude, you get blinders and walk straight ahead like a gentleman. That's what I do.
That's right. There's also this thing I saw. Someone made a life-sized Han Solo out of bread, and it looks pretty cool. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
Some baker in California did it, and it's pretty neat looking. I think Alan might have it. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Loaf Saber. Yeah, co-owners of One House Bakery in Benicia, California, spent weeks molding, baking, and assembling the Star Wars creation. Han Solo may be a hunk, but Pan Solo is a hunk of bread. There he is. No.
I think you can get those that same logo that comes in a Pop-Tart, I believe, and there's a waffle maker or a pancake maker that will make that for you.
You can make pancakes in the shape of Han Solo frozen.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or it's like a toaster.
They did a pretty good job. I mean, that looks
really good.
Very good.
He's got a belt line. He's got his pockets.
Yeah.
I guess you just leave that out there and you let everyone take pictures, huh?
And then how long before it gets moldy and birds start chipping away at it?
I wonder if they can spray it with something. Like, I would want to go in that store and get like Death Star balls. It's just a Death Star with just some like jelly, inside of it.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
like a black jelly.
Yeah, you need something to spread on Han Solo there. You know, toast him up. Put some jelly on. Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to read this thing here. It says what they made it with. 2 types of dough, including a yeastless dough with a higher sugar content so it will last longer. And they used wood as well. So there's wood up in there. So I don't know if you can eat it.
Well, the wood is the carbonite that he's probably locked in. So it's wood that's
Like the frame is wood.
The frame is wood, yeah. You can also get that logo as wallpaper to go over your refrigerator. They also make them where you
I've
can
seen
stick
those.
it and then
That's
it'll
pretty
go
cool.
across.
Yeah. Are you a big fan of
If
Star
you're
Wars?
like if you have a Han Solo frozen refrigerator, okay, let's say you're just a single guy, and then you have somebody move in with you. You meet a girl, she moves in with you. Then you get married. How long to that refrigerator do you think ends up in the garage or becomes the basement refrigerator?
It's just a matter of time. Well, depending on if the girl also is a Star Wars fan, which I'm finding there's more out there than you think.
Yeah.
My brother's most recent ex-wife was a big fan and had tattoos of like the Death Star and all this stuff.
Sweet.
Oh, she got sleeved with it. So, you know, if it's someone like that, they'd be like, oh, yeah, keep it around. That's cool. But if it's a traditional sort of female, I would assume it's probably it would be like a month before it's gone.
Before they go.
A month.
I'm just thinking we should maybe change up the theme. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, honey, I was just thinking the Han Solo fridge would look really good in your man cave.
Yeah, right.
Honey, I don't have them. We got to get you a man cave.
I don't even know.
honey.
Hey, let's do this, John.
Let's do it.
Why don't you give me some dates that people can come and see you over the next few?
Jacksonville, Florida, Comedy Zone, November 3, 4, and
careful.
5.
Be careful.
I know. That's where people
I know
get
3 different stories about people getting. Oh, by the way, remember that Vinny's Comedy Club that girl got thrown a beer can at, and I joked about the backdrop with bullet holes on it.
Yes.
And I didn't know that. I'm there in February.
Nice. You have to do something.
So
You have to do something. Have someone throw not a beer, but like I don't know, like a juice box. And then you pick it up and take the juice box and just start sipping the rest of it.
And then sip it. So you're at Jacksonville Comedy Zone.
Yeah, and then be in Myrtle Beach on the 16th of November at the House of Blues. And then Las Vegas in December, Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club.
That's back open. I used to be there all the time. I used to love that place.
I have never been.
It's great. You feel like it feels good to perform there. You feel like they treat you well. I mean, this is back pre-COVID. I'm excited to hear that it's back open again.
Yeah. New Year's Eve, I'll be in Charlotte doing the Comedy Zone there. New Year's Eve in Charlotte. Nashville, Tennessee, January. That's all you need for now. Go to HEFFRONREEP.com for all of our tour dates.
I'll be at the Comedy Castle first week in November. Comedy Works second week in November. Bunch of stuff in December, but I've already forgotten. Tampa Side Splitters, I believe, in December. John, you've been there before. I've never been.
I know that I like that room. I don't know how you are going to feel about it. I think that you will.
Okay.
It's in a corner, but the crowd has a tendency to be a part of the show.
You think it's a choose
Not in
your
a
own
mean
adventure?
way.
Yeah, they're just excited. It's Florida.
Yeah.
It's Florida. You gotta adjust for wind.
But I always have good time there. I think you'll love it.
right,
I can't wait to
perfect.
hear what you think. Also, last week, sorry, we maybe y'all didn't see last week's episode, but it did come out later. We had problems with the restreaming, I believe it was. The restream, the service we used to push it out, had a problem. And before we leave, John Heffron.
Yes.
I'm eating popcorn right now.
should
I want
do-
to know what you think about it.
Let's do a whole podcast. I've been thinking, what's the other podcast?
ASMR.
I don't. Why can't we do it? The whole podcast. Do this, and then you chomp, and then I'll just talk like this the whole time.
That really, John, I know that bugs you. That's why I was waiting to do it at the very end. John can't stand to hear people eat.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to do one of those podcasts where the people talk like this all the time. I don't know why people think it's so good.
I think one time we should start the podcast like this and see how many people turn the radio up, and then all of a sudden do like this.
Just
Hey Siri, turn it to Heffron and Reep. See what that
all
works.
right, man. Till next week. We'll see ya. We bet. Have a great.
Bye.